Hi, my name is Peter, and welcome again to my workshop, which is also my studio for making backpacking videos. In a recent video, I showed you everything that was in my pack, including a rain jacket, which I explained is no longer very waterproof or even water repellent. And I thought that perhaps that means that I need a new rain jacket. So I went out on the internet and started researching backpacking rain jackets specifically, and more generally, the state-of-the-art of backpacking rain gear. And I found the subject a little daunting and hard really to get a firm grasp on initially. But I did persevere and learned a few things, and thought I'd make a video to share with you some of the process, which is still ongoing, and some of what I've learned. One of the first things I discovered when I entered into the world of backpacking rain jackets is that that world is largely broken down into two categories: hard shell and soft shell. This term has been in use, I think, for about 10 years, and it probably made more intuitive sense when it was first came into use. The hard shell jackets tended to be made out of material that was less flexible and had less stretch, if any stretch at all. They tended to be cut larger to make up for the lack of stretch, so you could still get free range of motion despite the lack of stretch. So they were bulkier and generally heavier. Soft shell generally used materials that had some stretch into them, so they could be cut trimmer, so they were closer to the body and therefore usually lighter. Advances in fabric materials over the intervening years have started to blur the lines between these categories significantly. For instance, there now is such a thing as a hard shell jacket made from a stretch fabric. So you really need to look at the labels or listen to what the manufacturers or retailers have to say about the garments to be able to tell which category it fits into. So we've got a couple of jackets here that I'll use to kind of illustrate the differences a little bit. This is my hiking jacket, the one that is no longer very waterproof. It's made by Patagonia. The model was a Zephyr, which they no longer offer. I bought this in about 1998. It's got two layers to it. Both are made of polyester according to the label. The outer layer, which is your layer of defense against moisture, which doesn't work by itself. And there's an inner fleecy type layer which helps wick moisture away from the body and also adds a little bit of warmth, which I really like. This is my around town rain jacket. Oh, by the way, I only ever wear this backpacking. That's the only time it's used. This is my around town rain jacket, as I said. It's made by LL Bean, and it's a Gore-Tex jacket, so it's a hard shell. E-Vent is another popular material that would be found in a hard shell jacket. This actually has three layers. The outer layer is nylon, and bound to the back side of that would be a layer of the Gore-Tex fabric. And then there's a kind of meshy material on the inside, which in this case is not, it's kind of free-floating, but it serves to help protect the Gore-Tex. So a three-layer construction is pretty common in a hard shell. So as I said, the lines are blurring between these two categories. But the terms are still useful because there is one feature that I think at the bottom differentiates the two. And that is that hard shells are supposed to be waterproof. Supposed to be guaranteed. Whereas soft shells are water resistant at best. So that's a pretty significant difference. But that's about the only hard and fast rule that I can find that does differentiate. But there are some general things that tend to be true still. One is that even today, Soft shell jackets are more likely to be made out of a stretchy material than hard shells, and all the things that follow from that in terms of the garment size and whatnot. A second is that, and this surprised me, soft shells are considered to be more durable than hard shells. Apparently it's just the nature of the fabrics that are used. The hard shells tend to be more likely to suffer from abrasion problems or ripping or tearing. And a third item that is still, I think, close to universally true is that soft shells will have better air permeability or breathability than hard shells. And hard shells will sometimes try to make up for that by adding things like pit zips. So that's really the trade-off that you're making here. It's waterproofness versus breathability. And the day that someone comes up with a fabric that is both really waterproof and offers good breathability, well, they'll win. Some places where there are no clear winners between hard shell and soft shell are weight and price. You can find a wide range of weights and prices in both categories. They overlap quite a bit. So just to muddy the water a little, I think that you can really think of the hard shell category as having two subcategories, breathable and non-breathable. So as I said, this is a Gore-Tex jacket. It would fall into the category of garments that claim to be both waterproof and to some degree breathable. There's also jackets that claim to be waterproof but make no claim as to breathability. They generally would consist of just a single layer of some waterproof material. Garments in that category would be things like the paca, or I'm pretty sure dry ducks, or anything made out of Cuban fiber. And the advantage there is probably lower weight and lower price, except in the case of course, anything made out of Cuban fiber. So there's a lot of trade-offs to be made and weighed in choosing between the hard shell and soft shell camps. And obviously, in my case, I've gone in the soft shell direction. A couple of reasons for that is that in my case, to me, the breathability was more important than absolute waterproofness. It's just my opinion that if it's raining and you're backpacking, in the rain all day, you're not going to be dry at the end of the day, no matter what. And I think it's you're more comfortable wearing a soft shell jacket for that than the hard shell. And one other reason is that I don't like hoods. I just prefer hiking with a hoodless rain jacket and then wearing a rain hat with a wide brim. And in looking out there, I find that hard shell rain jackets that come without a hood are either very rare or non-existent. So we've talked a lot about the differences between the hard shells and the soft shells, but one of the things that multi-layer hard shells, your Gore-Texes, your Events, and your soft shells have in common is they both use a DWR finish. DWR stands for Durable Water Repellent. So as we've said, the soft shell jacket fabric is not itself waterproof or even water repellent untreated. So it's clear what the benefit is of providing a surface treatment that adds the water repellency. But for the hard shell, which we've said is inherently waterproof, why would you need the water-resistant finish on the surface? And the reason is that the waterproofness comes from the Gore-Tex layer in this garment, which is not the top layer, it's one layer down in the middle. So, and the top layer is nylon, which is not by itself inherently waterproof or water resistant. And so untreated, it would eventually absorb water. Wet out is the term commonly used. Now, when it did that, the garment would still be waterproof. The Gore-Tex would continue to do its job and keep the water out. But once the outer layer absorbed water, it would become heavier, and the garment would be less comfortable to wear, not only because it's just heavier, but because the heavier material would hang differently and poorly. It's just not designed to work that way. So that's the benefit of the DWR on the hard shell. So as I said, DWR stands for Durable Water Repellent. Note here that it is durable. It is not permanent. Eventually it will lose its effectiveness. Sometimes when it loses effectiveness, the effectiveness can be restored to the garment. But eventually it will be gone, and the DWR finish will need to be replaced and reapplied. The primary reason that a DWR finish might become less effective is that it's dirty. Even apparently minor amounts of everyday dirt and grime will rapidly diminish the effectiveness of the treatment. If your rain gear is soiled, of course, the solution is to wash it. Now, you should always pay attention to the fabric care labels that are on your clothes. But in general, your backpacking rain gear can be washed in your regular washing machine at home using your everyday detergent. However, there are specialty products on the market using in place of your everyday detergent that claim to do less damage to the DWR finish than the detergent would. I really have no way to judge the extent to which that's true, but the products aren't terribly expensive, and so I'm inclined to give them the benefit of the doubt and think that using the special product, the Tech Wash, is probably a good idea. But no matter how you wash your rain gear, between the wear and tear of everyday use and the washings, eventually the DWR finish is going to degrade to the point where it needs to be replaced. There are basically two approaches to doing that. There are wash-in products and there are spray-on products. The advantage of the wash-in products is it's apparently supposed to be easier, but really, how hard is it to use a spray bottle? The potential downside to a wash-in product is that it's going to coat the whole product, the whole garment inside and out. And for a garment with a lining that's supposed to be a wicking liner, coating that with a DWR finish would pretty clearly be a bad thing. It's not going to do a good job of wicking if it's been coated with DWR. So, maybe in the case of this garment, it would be okay, but I can't figure out any reason to not play it safe and use the spray-on product. So, how can you tell if your DWR finish needs to be restored or replaced? The answer is you put some water on it. And initially, we seem to be doing pretty well. We'll just kind of agitate a little here. And I'm not seeing any soaking in here, but I am seeing at least some here. You can maybe tell that's a lot more spread out. And there's a little darkening there where some absorption is happening. So, not very surprisingly, my hiking jacket needs some attention, and we'll take the first step, which is to wash it with the Tech Wash and see if that by itself will restore it. So here is our freshly laundered rain jacket. I let it dry overnight. If the fabric care label on your garment says it's okay, then machine drying is another option. Actually, machine drying used to be part of the process of restoring a DWR finish to a garment. The heat from the dryer, or alternatively from an iron, would kind of activate the DWR finish. But with current formulations, that's no longer the case, at least with the Nikwax products. So air drying, machine drying, it's all the same. If you were sufficiently certain that simply cleaning was not going to be enough to restore the DWR finish on your garment, then actually you shouldn't be drying at all, because the products that for reapplying DWR are intended to be applied to a wet garment. But I wanted to go through the step of rechecking how the DWR was performing after cleaning. So in order to do that, I needed the garment to be dry. So that's where we are. So I've applied some water here, and I'll show you what's going on with that. So as you should be able to see, there's quite a bit of darkening going on where the water is sitting, and here it's actually even spread out beyond where it's sitting, indicating that the fabric is absorbing water. And so we do need to reapply the DWR finish to this garment, which is kind of a good thing, because this video would be kind of anticlimactic if that weren't the case. So before we go on, I just want to say that I've chosen Nikwax products for this video, not because I've done extensive research and have determined that they're superior to any other product in this category, just because it's a brand name that I'm familiar with and I know is widely available. But there are other brands out there that will do similar things. So when I was doing research for this video, I went out to the Nikwax website, and I was surprised to find there that there are actually two different products to be used with hard shell versus soft shell garments. For hard shell, there's a product called TX Direct, and I don't know what TX Direct is supposed to mean, but if you read the label on the back of the bottle, it says it's recommended for Gore-Tex and Event. So that's the product for your hard shells. For soft shells, the product is helpfully named Soft Shell Proof. So whatever the differences are in the formulations of these two products, their application is mostly the same, and the directions on both agree that they should be applied to a wet garment. So having dried this garment in order to test it, I now need to get it wet again. And I'm going to get it wet the way I got it wet last time. I'm going to put it back in the washing machine for a short cycle, but this time without any detergent or Tech Wash. And then we'll continue from there. Okay, we are back from the laundry room once again. As I said, the directions on both of the products here are mostly in agreement, and they are fully in agreement on the first two steps. So we lay the fabric, the garment out flat, and we're going to hold the bottle about 6 inches away and spray it all. The bottle, it says here on the back someplace that this 10-ounce bottle should treat 1 to 2 garments. That's only 100% variation, so that's not all that helpful. So we'll kind of play it by ear. And of course, we'll be using the soft shell on the jacket, and the TX Direct we'll use on the hat, which is a Gore-Tex hat. And keep in mind that at least in the case of the jacket, we're going to be flipping it over and doing the other side as well. So what I was trying to accomplish there was to make sure I had enough material on the fabric that it was completely covered. So there's little pools of it here and there. That's just kind of a guess as to what's appropriate. So now the directions say, wait 2 minutes. It's been about 2 minutes, and here is where the directions between the two products vary. For the TX Direct on our Gore-Tex hat, it says, wait 2 minutes, remove any surplus product with a damp cloth. And I've got a damp paper towel, and that's easy enough. And clear enough. There. For the soft shell proof product, it says, rub in any surplus, especially important on textured fabrics. Well, no part of this is what I would call textured, and I'm not sure what it takes to rub in the product, but we'll kind of do this and for a while, and then turn it over, and we'll repeat the process on the other side of the jacket. The hat, we're not going to treat the underside of the hat. So we're now working on the back side, and after applying the product and waiting the 2 minutes, you know, there was quite a bit of puddling of the product on the jacket. And this type of just kind of petting it did seem to reduce those puddles quite a bit. So hopefully that's what's meant when they say to rub in any excess product. Okay, and all that's left to do is either air dry or machine dry at this point. So I didn't feel like waiting all day, so I did put this in the dryer to dry at low setting. And here we are back. And there's been water sitting on here for about half an hour. And so I'll bring the camera in and you can see what's going on there. So after half an hour, we have no perceivable darkening of the fabric, so no water absorption. So that was a success. So there you go, restoring a DWR finish on a soft shell jacket. And as we said, the hard shell jacket's process should be close to identical. So from what I read, you should be able to do this indefinitely. There's no reason to throw your jacket out and buy another one. If it starts absorbing a little water, you can fix it. So it's almost April, a couple more days. So I'm hoping it won't be too much longer before we can get on the trail again. Although here at home, I've still got almost a foot of snow on the ground. So spring isn't coming any too soon. Well, but that's all for today. Thanks for watching.